I'm Vincent, and I'd like to talk about some of Vincent's ideas. And I'd like to talk about something in particular. It has to do with physics, it has to do with philosophy, and it has to do with the quantum nature of the world, really. Physicists tell us that there are certain events in nature on a quantum scale that have certain probabilities of occurring, and before the event happens, it's just a matter of probability. I mean, you have no idea what the outcome is. And after the event happens, the different outcomes have probabilities such that it requires there to be an actual split in the universe. In other words, the event happens one way in one universe, it happens the other way in another universe. And that implies that there are actually multiple universes other than our own.
I started thinking about these types of ideas from reading some books about metaphysics and spirituality and more philosophy, and then I started realizing that hard scientists started sort of coming up with ideas of their own that, match philosophical and metaphysical ideas in a lot of ways. So that's just kind of, what fascinated me.
So there's another universe where you're sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the basic idea. I think, is that how is free will accommodated, I think. And I think that both hard scientists and more philosophical scientists and metaphysical people, I think they're all working together.
What do you think the nature of time is, and how does this interact with all this? I think you mentioned once that time has a quantum nature, not only matter but also time. And that's kind of an interesting idea. Is there a resolution of time? I mean, does everything is it like frames in a film? How does that work?
Well, once again, time is another one of those concepts that we human beings have to cope with, I mean, the nature of reality is just so awesomely mysterious, So that's another one of those concepts, those incomprehensible concepts to deal with when you're a human being. So, yeah, I mean, an idea I came up with is that it makes sense that could have a finite resolution as well. But what's the guy's name whose last name is Green?
Brian Greene?
Yeah, Brian Greene. I saw the television programs he produced on PBS about the string theory and all that. And each string is basically this indivisible, pixel in quotation marks. That's, the smallest, pixelated, fabric of reality, right? Well, several years before I saw that program, I came up with this whole idea about how, that I didn't use the word strings or dimensions, I used the word corner, because, this concept refers to units of reality that are far, far, far smaller than an atom or a proton or a quark. So particle or pixel. Pixel wouldn't have made any sense because I wasn't aware of virtual reality theory yet, and particle wouldn't have made any sense because these units of reality are far smaller than than the quantum level. So I decided that corner was the most appropriate term. I decided the smallest unit of time is a moment, because a moment it seemed like the most appropriate term too.
You're not talking about everyday sense of the moment. You're
No.
You're talking about a specific type of resolution of time.
Right. A new definition for the word moment. I decided that, well, the moment in the corner is pretty cool, but maybe each moment corresponds to an individual corner, and that each individual corner having been exposed, this is all based on my exposure to fractal geometry. So when I learned about fractal geometry and the concept of self-similarity, then I just assumed, well, okay, maybe every individual corner is really a giant universe of its own, just as big as ours, really, really, really small, located inside of that corner. But it's not another universe, it's our universe, or some universe somewhere that represents and corresponds to a given moment in time, and that we as living things simply pop in an infinitesimally small amount of time from corner moment to corner moment to corner moment to corner moment in a string of beads, you know, a string of moments, of corner moments, and that's what our minds or souls or whatever do, is that we just pop from one corner moment to corner moment to corner moment to corner moment in you know, a string, and then that's what makes up what is perceived to us as a continual flow of space-time, you know.
That's interesting, because what does that, how does that relate to free will? In other words, if you're using an analogy of a string of pearls, can we choose which string of pearls that we follow in our lives?
Right, well, see, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, well, that's the whole point. That's how free will works. Is like, well, if we decide we want to wear a blue shirt instead of a red, then we suddenly start popping into our consciousness, immediately diverts and pops into the the string of corner moments in which we put on the blue shirt. Okay, and that's just very simple, because our wills will us to that timeline. Now, why we don't experience an infinite number of consciousnesses doing every imaginable possible thing at once, see, you know, that's a big mystery. How come we only seem to perceive one singular consciousness at a time?
That's what makes it
kind of problematic.
Problematic and a little bit spooky. I mean,
right.
What if there are many, many versions of me? The thing that I call my consciousness is just kind of the version of me which happens to be going along this particular string, and in the same way with other people also. So
yeah, and
in a way, each moment we're like two ships passing in the night each moment.
Well, and furthermore, the more quote-unquote moments that go by in my pseudoscientific sense, what, trillions and septillions of, you know, different timelines? I mean, but we're only experiencing one.